Boy King Ed the Great, aka Rick Capo, coming at y'all with another video. Be sure to subscribe to Off the Cuff Radio and hit the like button. So, in continuing, I'm talking about lost footage, and I talked about this the other day when it seems like Universal and Interscope was hiding the Tupac speech that he did with Khalid Muhammad in Indianapolis called the Black Expo speech. I want to talk about here why it seems like Russell Simmons, whom was ahead of the hip hop summits back in the early 90s and the 2000s, is purposely hiding this Suge Knight content here. Now, for the past several years since he got locked up, we heard so much content, good, bad, and ugly. But for some reason, they won't release this because he was talking heavily about the backdoor tactics that the industry is doing to keep black artists down. A broken clock is right twice a day. So I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I'm gonna read the important things. It says he said next he spoke about the music business and how it was important for artists to form a union. He pointed out that many artists have no health benefits and very little leverage in terms of negotiating for a better deal. He talked about artists and hip hop songwriters positioning themselves so they could economically impact the four major labels. He offered a couple of scenarios that definitely had you juiced. He also pointed out that how many major labels stick together and will work with each other to try and keep artists from rising from certain levels. He now noted how an artist who had beef with one label will leave and go to another only to find that executive form label one will pick up the phone and tell the executive from the new label not to give the artist a good contract. Suge noted that the hip hop community need to have that type of unity, leverage, and power. Now, this one here is what drove it home to me. This is why you see the R&B group. There's no R&B groups in R&B no more. And he said Suge spoke about the type of tactics that go on behind the scenes where labels try to get rap groups to break up and go solo so they can make more money. He also spoke on how all the new boy bands were merely carbon copies of the black boy bands, like Boyz II Men from a few years back. He radically asked the question as to where are they now. Suge also spoke on the state of today's male group by noting that the industry has positioned them so they will no longer have an identity. He pointed out that if it wasn't for a video, you would not know the difference between 112 and Jagged Edge. He suggests this turn of events is a deliberate attempt to keep the black artist at a certain level. That's crazy. Then, of course, you know he's going to go far and talk about Dr. Dre and Snoop at that time. He said, Suge then made some remarks about Dr. Dre. He wanted to know how come Dr. Dre is from LA and he did not show up to the hip hop summit as promised. He then criticized Dre for signing artists like King T, Eve, and others and never putting them out. He noted that the first artist Dre really got behind was Eminem. It was because of his skin color and is allowed to say and do whatever he wants. He seemed to also imply that it was Interscope calling the shits and not Dre. Suge also pointed that, like Snoop Dogg accused of giving artists bad deals, he told the audience that he gave Snoop $5 million while he was on trial for murder. He pointed out to Trey D, who was sitting in the audience, that he sold 1 million records but don't have $1 million. Suge wanted to know who was really giving the artists bad deals. Now, this is interesting right here, especially when he talked about why the state of R&B is where it is right now, where you don't have any groups. You know what I'm saying? There is no R&B groups no more. They ain't even know no black R&B singers like that in the mainstream, other than Chris Brown. And this is a possible reason. He called this in 2002. So my question is, why is Russell Simmons holding this back? Is it because that he went at a lot of his co-workers or friends? Because you know Russell was real tight with Snoop and Dre. And maybe he didn't want it out there, or either that or Lior or his bosses told them not to release this form of content. So, let me know what y'all think.